Do not be discouraged. Just continue to write and ask God to give you the strength to document what He wants you to document. And when the time is right, He'll allow it to be released. Don't be discouraged. There are going to be persons who they're going to criticize you. There are going to be persons who are going to criticize you. There are going to be negative criticism and positive criticism. But whatever, do not let it deter you from documenting. Do as the Lord leads.
Greetings, Authorpreneurs. Welcome to the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast, the show that uncovers the secrets to win with books beyond book sales and dominate entrepreneurship. Through exclusive author interviews, stories, and must-have resources, you will discover some of the secrets and strategies to thrive with books and generate lasting income. I invite you to become an Authorpreneur ambassador and join me in my mission to raise up 10,000 Caribbean entrepreneurs by 2030. Spread the word about the podcast and encourage more people to increase their impact and income with books beyond book sales. Without further ado, let's get into the show. It's episode 127 of the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast. I'm your host, C. Ruth Taylor, and today we're going to be talking about memoirs. What are some of the things that you need to bear in mind if you are writing your story? And Dr. Ruthline Haughton Cameron is our guest for today. Her book is Forgiving the Unforgivable, and she's going to share some lessons and tips about forgiveness and how she gained courage to write about what are painful matters to the benefit of others. So stay tuned.
Throughout our lives, we encounter adventures and memorable events. Making the most of these events is key, because these adventures create milestones in our lives, and what better way to document these milestones than through books? Milestones big or small, but they all hold a special place in our hearts. The accomplishments may be personal, such as graduating from school or getting a promotion at work, or they may be shared with others, such as getting married or even having a child. These books can serve as a reminder of the hard work and dedication that went into reaching that goal. They can capture the memories and emotions associated with it, and they can be cherished for years to come. No matter what the milestone is, capture it in a book.
All right, just before we get into our interview, the Rocket Writing Challenge is over. And on the challenge, I was able, as you know, to do the revised edition of this book. And now I am going through the editing, and the ebook will be out on December 21st. And so also on the challenge, our guest last week, Joanne Richards-Goff, she also took the time to revise her first book, God Incidences, and that book is coming out on the 10th of December. So it's not just about writing a new book, you know, it's about making progress. And so even if you did not finish a book on the challenge, writing is a win. And so there were persons who wrote over 6,000 words, over 7,000 words. One of our members, Aminata, she wrote 9,000 words, but she was also on the NaNoWriMo challenge, and I know she wrote over 32,000 words. So that would make her technically the winner because she kind of worked on 2 books. And so congratulations, Aminata. You are a super writer, and we're so proud of you. We are proud of everyone who wrote on the challenge. It is a boost because this is part of what we do annually, and we want to raise up more authors who will go on to become authorpreneurs or author entrepreneurs. And so that is the latest in terms of my authorpreneurship venture. We are still preparing for the summit, and we've confirmed our speakers, as I said before, and they're getting ready for the summit. And you can now go and register for the summit. It's authorpreneursecrets.com/summit schedule, or just when you go on the page, look for Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit and click that. And yes, I'm excited. Things are falling into place nicely. So, without further ado, let's get into the interview with Dr. Ruthline Haughton Cameron about forgiving the unforgivable. Today I have with me Dr. Ruthline Haughton Cameron. She is a Portlander, a God-fearing woman who loves the Lord with all of her heart. She has served as an educator and middle manager in the education sector for over 36 years. Her passion for learning and desire to impact young people to make their minds better for society propelled her to go on to attain a doctorate in professional leadership and development from the University of Sheffield in England. And in May 2023, she published her memoir, Forgiving the Unforgivable. It's about triumphing through faith and forgiveness. And today, she's here to share some gems with us and tell us all about writing memoirs and how we can use our stories to help others to overcome adversity. Without further ado, welcome to the show, Dr. Cameron.
Thank you so very much for having me, Miss Taylor. So good to be with you.
It's such a privilege. You are from one of the most beautiful parishes in Jamaica, Portland.
Sure.
What's your favorite thing about Jamaica?
Well, there are more than one favorite thing that I need to mention. First, I like the atmosphere that we feel when our team is at the Olympic Games, and there is this excitement. Everybody is just screaming. There's this camaraderie. There is this, they express love and affection for everybody. There's a beating of the pot covers, the screaming, just sheer excitement. And then you find them gathering together to watch the games, or they are staying up late. So I like that about that part of our culture where everybody gets excited and we are like team, just a team wherever we are in the world. We're just like one team, and I really like that. And then what I really like about my Jamaica here, this time of the year, there is, again, like the games, there is this warmth, there is this love, even the feeling in the air. It's like there's a change in the atmosphere. This cool, I call it the Christmas breeze, and then everybody's just so excited. And then not to mention the food, the curry, the sorrel, the rice and peas and chicken, the oxtail, the curry mutton, and then the family gatherings. I enjoy that. And so this is my favorite time of the year. This is what I like about our Jamaica. Our culture is very rich. Not that I don't enjoy the beach and the sunshine and all of that, but this is what I like about my Jamaica. Our love for each other. And it's not that we don't show it all the time, but sometimes we don't show it enough. And that's that's the part I need for us to improve on.
So basically, you love the spirit of the Jamaican people that comes out at Christmas time, because we're doing this interview in December, and you like that togetherness, and that excitement when we are competing in international events. Love it.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So you were brave enough to document your story, a memoir. Writing a memoir is not easy. So talk to us. Why did you decide to write your memoir and tell the story, Forgiving the Unforgivable? Talk to us about that.
Well, initially, this was not my plan, right? I intended to do an extract from my doctoral dissertation dealing with leadership. And then the Lord spoke to me. I really believe He spoke to my spirit that this is what I need to do, write on forgiveness. And it was a challenge because I'm a very private person. And to just put my life story out there, as it were, wasn't my thing. But then God spoke in my spirit, and then I realized that I'm troubled by not obeying Him. And so I decided to document, because He took me through the trials at my workplace. issues in my marriage, issues in my doctoral studies, especially during my doctoral studies. And he brought me to a place of peace. And he strengthened me during the journey. And so he impressed upon me the need to share this, how he is able to take you through the fire, through the storm. And know I am, let's say, okay, and I should be able to help others to go through their journey and have peace and look beyond the negativity. So yes.
Okay, so you're a Christian and you decided to write because you felt this was how God was leading you. All right, so the book is titled Forgiving the Unforgivable.
Yes.
What is the unforgivable that you had to forgive, and how were you able to do that?
Okay, initially I thought it was I could not forgive infidelity in my marriage. I thought I could not forgive sabotage in my studies. I could not forgive the struggles I had at the workplace, victimization. I thought those were things that I could not really forgive. But then, as I talked to the Lord about it, He started to give me peace. And then I started to forgive. I started to pray for those individuals who were causing me such issues, such trials. And then as I prayed, and this peace, there was this peace for the situation. The more I prayed, the more peaceful I became, and the more I was able to progress in what I was doing. Because, for example, infidelity in my marriage. I remember one day I said to myself, "What my husband is so happy and doing what he's doing, and I'm here miserable. Why am I making myself miserable and he's happy as a lark?" And I said, "God, please take away the bitterness from my heart. Please take away the bitterness from my heart." And I'm not going to lie to you. Initially, my prayer, I keep on using this word initially, because in the first, at the beginning of it, I wasn't thinking of like positive prayers. But then as I started to see God's face, I started to pray for his salvation and all of that. At my workplace, after working for years as a middle manager and no compensation, it's not easy when you see somebody with less qualification comes in and within a few months they are promoted. You're angry. But then I started to pray, and I asked God. I actually said to the administrator one day, "I'm doing my work as unto the Lord. So no matter what happens, it's unto the Lord." With my supervisor, doctoral supervisor, it started, I had in challenges at work with my second degree, but the doctoral studies, my supervisor, after having discussed the plan forward, was not doing what was planned. And it would appear as if I was not doing my work. And then I had no alternative but to talk with somebody who I was directed to speak with. And so, having gone through all of that and seen how God strengthened me through all of that trauma and trials, I had no alternative but continue to grow in Him. And so, amidst all of that, I was getting stronger in Him. I'm trusting Him more. I'm learning more from Him. And so it was, I wouldn't say easy, but I was able to forgive all of those. And even I think I not only forgive, but I was able to assist others who were going through some of the trials at the workplace, because they saw the peace. Persons who were having similar challenges came to me, and I would sometimes pray together and all of that. So God helped me even during my time of trials to help others. So yes, because it seemed unforgivable, but when God touches your heart and guides you, then you obey Him, and then you're able to help others. So that is the only way I was able to forgive the unforgivable.
Wow. So, Doc, you relied a lot on God and your Christian experience in terms of praying. So what about those who are not Christians? Can they walk the path of forgiveness? And how would that take place for them?
Of course, they can walk the path of forgiveness. We all want peace. We want the best quality of life. And the only way that you can have that is to forgive. Even if the Bible tells us that we ought to forgive one another if we want God to forgive us. So how are we going to try to have a peaceful life if we're not able to forgive those with whom we interact each day? So although they are not Christians, they can also use this path, and they can also. It for me is not just for Christians. Once we are brothers and sisters, and once we are brothers and sisters, we have to learn to forgive, because that's the only time we're going to have peace. I did not experience that until I truly forgave what was happening in my life. So yes.
When we talk about forgiveness, does it mean forgetting? Does it mean you're no longer angry with the person? What does forgiveness feel like or look like for me to know that I have forgiven someone?
Okay, forgiveness is letting go of all of that resentment and anger that the offender has caused. So you let go of, regardless of the injury, no matter how painful, you have to let it go. And you don't necessarily have to say it to the person, but you know within your spirit, I am forgiving you. You're talking it to yourself, but you know that you're forgiving that person. I'm forgiving so and so for this pain, this hurt, this injury, right? And having asked God to help you to release it from your system, you no longer have it there. But it does not necessarily mean that you have forgotten it, because there are things that will cause you to remember it. For example, I forgave the administrator, but I was still at the workplace. I'm seeing the administrator every day. So it's how I treat that administrator. Good morning. How are you doing today? This is a part of my job description. I'm supposed to be presenting my lesson plans, my reports. I am at the front there. I am first or second to hand it in, because I am showing that I have no resentment. I am doing my work, and I'm doing it as unto the Lord. So I've forgotten. I'm not forgotten, but I've forgiven, and I'm doing what I'm doing as unto the Lord. So I don't, because I'm talking about it today, that obviously that I've not forgotten it. I've documented it. I've not forgotten it, but there's no anger. There's no hatred. There's no negativity. And the person, if I should meet any of those persons today, it would not be difficult for me to say, hi, how are you? How are you doing? Because I've placed it in the hands of the Lord, and it's not foremost in my mind. And if I should see the person in need or in any way, because I have forgiven, it would not be difficult for me to offer assistance.
Okay, so some of the signs of forgiveness then is when you're able to release the anger. It's not forgetting. Sure. It's when you're able to still do good to the individuals who would have injured you. Yes. And of course, you're saying that prayer and having a relationship with God helps you in that process. Yes. So here's a question I want to ask. As you were documenting your journey through the land of forgiveness and sharing your life, were you worried about this person reading the story and any repercussions as you wrote and, this story? Because sometimes when you're writing memoirs, even though it's a fact, you're sometimes concerned about libel, exposing the person. What are they going to think if they read and see this? Did you have those concerns, and how did you handle it?
Sure, I had those concerns, but if you'll notice in the book, I have not meant anything with negativity. I have not mentioned even the gender. For example, I refer to the administrator. I didn't say him or her, right? And I wasn't fearful that the administrator would know that I am talking about that particular person, because I'm talking about the truth, and there are other persons who, even remember at the launch, other persons concurred with me on the issues that went on then. So I wasn't afraid to document that, because I know it's the truth. But as we speak here now, there are one or two persons who within the town would know that I'm talking about that particular person, and it's like I'm getting a cold shoulder there, but I'm fine because I know that I've not done anything wrong. I know it's the truth and it's my story, and others have concurred with me on that story. So yes, it can be, there can be repercussions, but for me, the consequences, I'm not worried about those consequences because I am speaking the truth, and I truly believe that this is what the Lord wanted, has led me to do. Yes.
I like that point. You know you're speaking the truth. You have others to corroborate it. And
Yes.
so while you're aware that those who are intimately acquainted with the situation or the perpetrators themselves might see the story, you're not worried. And so we want to say, for those of you who are writing memoirs and your story is painful, that you can be confident in making the step forward, knowing that it is a truth, and you have to be mindful of how you write it. Some persons use pseudonyms. Some persons will even fictionalize their story or tell it in the third person. And you saw what Dr. Cameron said she did, that she didn't call the gender, and she would, there are certain things that you can do to prevent unnecessary challenges, because writing memoirs is challenging. You don't want to be, you don't want to end up with a lawsuit for libel or defamation. And so we want to thank you for those points. So since you've published this book, how has it changed your life? Because I know books change lives, not just for the readers, but for the authors. How has this book changed your life since publication?
I would say that it has changed my life, but I am more motivated to continue writing. And people have been approaching me and asking me, how were you able to do that? I didn't know this was happening to you. And would ask, how would you approach something having to do with forgiveness? So I'm here assisting person in their forgiveness process, and as I said, it changed. I wouldn't say that it changed my life, but as I shared with you earlier, that some persons who know the administrator are giving me like the cold shoulder because I put that out there. They have not approached me, have not like said, why did you write? That relationship that we had, I noticed is not at that same level, but it's fine because they know I'm speaking the truth. I want to think that I am more motivated to continue writing. Yes.
That's an excellent thing. You are more motivated to write, and it is accomplishing the primary purpose for which you wrote is to help others to go through this process of forgiveness. So yes, it has accomplished that. And my hope is that that ministry that has been birthed as a result of this, that it will expand and grow, because that's what we expect books to do. Do you have any specific program or initiative that you will be creating with the book to help persons walk through this difficult land of forgiveness, to take this journey of forgiving the unforgivable like you have?
I have initiated conversations with individuals, not those I know with struggles, and those who have the expertise to guide others. And I have plans for further presentation for 2020-2024. But I attended a restorative justice 2 workshops, and I presented on forgiveness, and I have shared that I would really want to be able to attend their churches. Is a church group, but different sister churches were attending, and I would really be happy if they would invite me to come and share on different topics like forgiveness, infidelity in marriage, women suffering silently. So I'm working on that for the new year. With God's blessings, I believe I'll get some calls.
So we are seeing that the book is opening doors. You are able to do a presentation with the Restorative Justice Unit and one at a church. And that's what a book does. It is a spark. It is a platform to get the fire going. And this is a very essential topic. You know, as you said, not many people are willing to write their stories. And so to the person who is feeling that God is saying, write your story, as difficult as it is. And I can relate because I was in that position when I wrote my first book, Heartache Queen Unshackled. I was scared to write it because parts of it were painful and traumatic, and I was worried about its impact on those involved if they should read it. So, what is your biggest advice for those who are feeling that tug to share their story, but they're afraid because some of it may be traumatic or they're afraid of the implications? What advice do you have for them, Doc?
Do not be discouraged. Just continue to write and ask God to give you the strength to document what He wants you to document. And when the time is right, He'll allow it to be released. Don't be discouraged. There are going to be persons who they're going to criticize you. There are going to be persons who are going to criticize you. There are going to be negative criticism and positive criticism. But whatever, do not let it deter you from documenting. Do as the Lord leads. You have family members and friends who can be a good support system. Have your little village.
I think that's excellent advice. I've never heard the second part before, but I'm glad you said that. Don't be discouraged. Don't rush the process. Whenever you feel that, go ahead, that this is the time that God is saying, release it. Release it. So continue writing. And most importantly, build up your support system, that village. Doc, we want to thank you for your boldness, for sharing your story. And I'm sure there are others who want to get the book. Where can we find this book, Forgiving the Unforgivable?
Okay, you can make contact with me on Facebook at my name, Ruthline Haughton Cameron, or you can email me at rehaughtoncam@gmail.com. And it's also on Amazon.
So there you have it, Forgiving the Unforgivable, Triumphing Through Faith and Forgiveness. So it's a powerful memoir on overcoming adversity. So you can email her and we'll put the link in the show notes. And we just want to thank you again, Doc, for being courageous and being an example that this is possible. And your story will help somebody else. And so if God is telling you to write your story, we want to encourage you to act with courage and do it, because you never know the lives that will be changed. Any final words, Doc, as we close out this interview?
Nothing is impossible with God. Absolutely nothing. I did not know I could be at this place at peace. I'm able to treat well with situations, having had all of those negative experiences. So when you place your trust in God, you can do all things through God who strengthens you. So yes, nothing is impossible with God. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity to share with others that God is still in the business of healing and saving and doing those things that will make our lives better, for us to have a happier and fuller life with our families here on earth until He comes for us.
All right. Thank you so much, Doc. And we look forward to hearing more stories of how lives are being changed because of this book.
Thank you so much for having me, Ms. Hill. Thank you for having me. God's blessings.
I trust that you gained some tremendous insight from listening to Dr. Cameron as she shared her journey of writing her memoir about something that is not easy to write about, the challenges she faced in her life, in her marriage, and in the workplace, and with her doctoral studies, and being able to forgive by the grace of God. and just having the courage to share her story. So I trust that her example will help you to do the same. So if you're thinking of writing a memoir, and so I want to encourage you to write your story, but be mindful of these things. And as we close out the show, remember, of making many books, there is no end. So go pen it to win it and dominate authorpreneurship. This is Ruth Taylor saying, ta for now, until next time.